Chris Crock program. I just told my producer, Garrett, too. He's like, it looks like you're playing football, like the original NFL with those helmets. I have a hat that looks like that. It's a Carhartt hat I got for Christmas. I'm freezing, but I was hotter than heck earlier, so I said I'm having old man hot flashes. That's what I told him. That's great. I laughed when I came on because I was thinking about it. It's so funny. Okay, at least I think I'm funny. I don't know, maybe I'm not. But here I am. I have a radio program. After 14 years, I'm still standing, y'all, here. And Alec Baldwin is not happy today. The man must not be happy in any way, shape, or form today. I thought about this, and he literally was thinking, he pretty much, the longer you go, when you don't know if you're going to get busted on something or not, the more confident you feel. And then, it's been like, a year? 8 months, and then he gets indicted today. I thought about this, and has anybody, I don't know the answer to this, has Baldwin done any new work since that happened? Has anybody hired him? I guarantee you all of Hollywood still loves the guy, you know what I'm saying? You don't think so? I think so, because he's like one of those guys. He's Trump hater, gun hater, leftist. And look, as much as I can't stand him, he's got talent. You got to be honest. Well, you don't think he has talent, dude? He does. I can't lie. I'm not saying I can't stand the guy now because of what he's done over the past couple of years. That doesn't change. I'm just saying, I'm not going to pretend the guy still doesn't have talent. But here's the thing. I say all this because I'm thinking out loud with you. Like, I don't know if he's done anything since this happened. I could be wrong. What do I know? There's things that come out. I'm like, when did this come out? I didn't even see this, But I thought about this, and I'm like, this man ain't going to be sleeping for a long time well. He ain't going to be sleeping well for a long time. Because this could put him in jail for up to 18 months. Now, I don't think he's going to go to jail. It's just, maybe he will. Actually, don't say that to myself. I just said to myself, don't say that. You know why? We don't know. You don't know anything. Now, there's some negatives and there's some positives as far as the case. First of all, the fact that they put out charges, then it was something a law that didn't even get passed when the charges were made, so they had to withdraw those charges. It was a group of people that were special prosecutors. They ended up resigning or whatever, and then the new DA came in and then did charges, I believe, and then dropped charges, something like that. And so here's the other thing, too, and this is very interesting. The FBI, when they got custody of this gun, the Colt, whatever it was, I believe, revolver action, whatever, double action, or whatever it's called, or single action, I believe, revolver. When the FBI got it, they couldn't get it to fire, so they had to use some kind of a mallet, and it broke the gun after they got it to fire. But their analysis did determine that that gun, the trigger was pulled, and you can't fire it without the trigger. And they were banging on it with the mallet to try to get it to fire without pulling the trigger. Is what the point is here. And they were hitting it so hard that it broke. That's how hard it was to make the thing fire without pulling the trigger. Then the secondary expert came. This is from the Wall Street Journal this afternoon. Prosecutors secured a new analysis of the revolver and the fatal bullet. So they got a new analysis of the revolver and fatal bullet by one of the nation's top experts who concluded that the gun did not go off by itself. So you have the FBI and now a brand new analysis of the gun and the shell, the spent casing. And they clearly say the trigger was pulled, so he's lying. And apparently he was not supposed to be pulling the trigger anyways. Apparently. But And then, as you know, he denied pulling the trigger. And this is a big problem because he's got several things going against him. Number one, he was the producer. And in his role as a producer, he was he got the financing and he ran the show. So he hired and ran these conditions that were notoriously horrific. We all have heard about that. People left the set, they quit because it was so unsafe. And there were previous armor bearer issues on the set there. I mean, you have a set that's so unsafe, they leave, they walk off, you know? That's crazy. And so he did it on the cheap. He ran it. He was in charge. And it was one of these movies that I forget what they call it in the industry, but where they do it on the cheap, but he still gets his big paycheck. So that's fine if that's the model. But if you do that and you cut corners to the point where people are in there that shouldn't be in there, and also that the set is unsafe, then you are liable. And I think more than civilly, I think you're liable criminally. And so he's been indicted. Baldwin has today on involuntary manslaughter, which you can be sentenced up to 18 months in jail, a year and a half in jail. Let me play Baldwin from his interview that he never should have done with George Stephanopoulos, denying that he ever pulled the trigger.
I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
At the moment. The decisive
That was the moment the gun went off, yeah. That was the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them. Never. That was the training that I had. You don't.
Is that not funny? Isn't that funny? Oh, no.
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them. Never. That was the training that I had. You don't point a gun at me and pull a trigger at them.
Okay, now producer Garrett says he's changed his mind, producer Garrett too, that he has changed his mind, that he does think Alec Baldwin is talented after that performance. And I think you make a very good point. I told you he was talented. That is talent. He's convincingly excusing himself. Is that what you're saying? This is powerful testimony right here? Woo! Here's my questions for you. As Alec Baldwin today being indicted by a grand jury, a jury of his peers in Santa Fe, New Mexico today. What kind of punishment would you like to see for Alec Baldwin if he's convicted of involuntary manslaughter? And do you think he should get more time for lying about pulling the trigger? You know, he's lied a lot about this since day one. According to the FBI and this one of the top gun experts in the country, apparently. One of the nation's top experts, according to the Wall Street Journal, concluded the gun didn't go off by itself as well. So that's pretty conclusive to me. So my questions are, what kind of punishment would you like to see for Alec Baldwin if he's convicted of involuntary manslaughter? And should he get more time for lying about pulling the trigger? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. It's never been made clear how live rounds, the Journal said, typically banned from movie productions for safety, made it onto the set in New Mexico. Prosecutors have said there will likely never be a definitive answer to that. Wow. You know? It was such a wreck they couldn't pinpoint how they made it onto the set. That's pretty insane. You would think the armor bearer would not allow anybody to access this, right? And remember we heard they were firing off live rounds on the set during downtime? Like you know, maybe not right on the set, I'm saying, but you know what I mean? Like right off the set, right on the property there. In their downtime, they were doing shooting and having fun with, with live rounds. So anyway, FBI analysis showed Baldwin pulled the trigger of the gun, according to the DA's office. It broke during the FBI testing, which I told you about. They turned to a man named Lucien Hogg, a longtime firearms expert based in Arizona, to examine the pieces of the revolver. He said parts of the gun were replaced to make it operational again for his testing, during which the weapon functioned properly. He concluded the gun did not go off accidentally. if it had the imprint from the firing pin on the spent casing would have been different. See, so he knows that the imprint on that firing pin where it struck and fired was clearly indicative of a trigger being pulled. Now that's pretty credible. Look for Baldwin's team to do what high-powered, extremely expensive, high-powered lawyers like Johnny Cochran, the late Johnny Cochran, will do. Cause doubt, sow doubt. And they will do that by saying that the gun's destroyed. I wanted to prove to you that they're wrong, but the gun's destroyed. I have no way to prove it to you. And that could really do them in. But it depends, because if you have the FBI and this guy separately saying, dude, we both did this, it'll be interesting. Although Baldwin repeatedly denies, I'll give you a few details on this. A few more details on this. What this report that just come out with has images of video. Do they actually have the video, though, that shows Baldwin holding the revolver with his finger on the trigger? I will tell you. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Then, how should we stop homeless encampments in Dallas? Mayors bordering Dallas went to the city and really let loose on Dallas by saying, man, you guys aren't stopping this. You're not doing anything, and we're trying to work with you, and you ain't helping. We're going to get into that coming up next as well on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Chris Crock program, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Well, talking about Alec Baldwin indicted for involuntary manslaughter, which means he could face up to 18 months today. What kind of punishment would you like to see for Alec Baldwin if he's convicted of involuntary manslaughter? And should he get more time for lying about pulling the trigger? According to the FBI and this top firearms expert in America, who both say he pulled the trigger. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Now, there is a report that the DA released with their indictment with the grand jury, and there's images from a video taken at the rehearsal showing Baldwin holding the revolver with his finger on the trigger. Apparently on the trigger, the report says, from, I think, the New York Post. It was from the Wall Street Journal. So there's video of the guy where you can see his finger appears to be on the trigger. And he says, oh, no, I don't, dude, you're a totally bald-faced liar. Somebody said today earlier on Fox, I don't know if it was Judge Janine Perot or somebody, they literally said he never should have done the interview because it, sunk him. The film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, is also facing charges of involuntary manslaughter at the death of Halyna Hutchins, the second director there. She failed to do her duties, the accusations from the investigators, to promote gun safety and prevent recklessness with weapons during the filming. So there you go. Oh, you know what's really fascinating, guys? I was listening to, remember, famed defense attorney, criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos, who I think he was with the O.J. Simpson case. He was massive in the 90s and such, defending undesirable criminal defendants who have a right to defense, obviously, but nonetheless ones that you and I are like, oh, dude, like an O.J. type. And he said today on Martha McCallum's show that the family has already settled with this guy. The family of the director Halyna Hutchins that he killed, that Baldwin and this other armor bearer are accused of killing negligently by manslaughter. He said that the family has already settled out of court with Baldwin, and that they seem happy, and he doubts they're going to be supportive of this. And then moments later, one of the best things came out that she released towards the end of his interview. The family just released a statement, because this is all breaking in the 1 o'clock hour here, our time, 2 o'clock New York time, and she had him on the interview, and she goes, wait, we just got a brand new statement from the family of Halyna Hutchins, the victim in this. And they're like totally full-throated, appreciative and supportive of the prosecution. They want him to be prosecuted. They want justice. So Gary Wilson's like, well, the family's not even going to want it. They're quiet. They were settled. And he said, and I'm not doubting what he said because he's an expert. He is, whether we hear them or not. He's an expert. And he did say that that's done, that the settling out of court is done to settle before, so that it won't go to a criminal court. You know what I mean? They'll pay off a lot to keep it out of criminal court and to keep it out of civil court, so that he doesn't look horrible on trial for months. You know what I mean? Where they show all the evidence that makes him look really bad, and get a finding of guilt in the civil trial and perhaps a finding of guilt in the criminal trial. Well, that's all thrown out the window when moments later the statement came in from the family. They wanted this and they're glad and they appreciate it and look forward to the criminal prosecution. So now it's bad, y'all. It's bad. Woo. Okay. As far as Alec Baldwin, I'd be crapping bricks. Okay. Meantime, here's the headline from the Dallas Morning News. Dallas business property owners share concerns about camps of unhoused people. What you mean to say is homeless camps. Quit saying unhoused people like it's something different. Take a freaking hike. Go take a crap on a lake with that fake language. You're like Sports Illustrated. Quit printing fake news. They're homeless people. Most of them are choose to be bums. Not all of them. And we must have compassion. Don't hear what I'm not saying. We must have compassion. Compassion means you go in there and you try to offer them help and you do your best to do it in a compassionate way, but you tell them this ain't going to happen. So we'll help you clean up. We'll help you move. We'll work with you. We'll give you a night or two here. But I'm going to tell you right now, this whole place is gone in a few days. And if you don't leave, we're going to cite you for this and this and this. And if this happens, we're going to arrest you. It's all if then, which is Solomonic wisdom. If this happens, then this will happen. If you do this, then this will happen. So if you work with us, then we will help you get into a house. If you don't work with us, then we will do this. We will put you in a mental institution. We will put you in jail. Whatever. We'll put you in a sobriety program against your will. Whatever. So that's what needs to happen. And the suburban mayors in Carrollton, Farmers Branch, and Addison gently unleashed on the city of Dallas publicly at this meeting the other day about what the mayor's task force about homelessness and stuff like that, because they can't get these homeless encampments that are very dangerous out. And one of the ones that was mentioned by the Addison mayor, I was right in front of it, of course, in a very, very nice car with a friend of mine and his wife. We were on a double date, and we went by, and it's right there. It's like, what the heck? And we almost hit the thing. It's in that, we have there's North Texas, so we have in Texas we have the U-turn underpass, where you go on the U-turn underpass. We came around there, and there's like a massive settlement there where you can hit it almost with your car. So we'll get to that next, and what you think the solution is to this. 800-288-WBAP, Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Dallas business and property owners share concerns about homeless people. They're calling on the city of Dallas to expand their efforts to stop homelessness. Mayor has a task force. They're trying to figure out solutions. They're talking about housing options and such. And I do think that compassion is the number one thing. But, dude, I think what's not happening is enforcement. Let me give an example. I talked to a cop who worked off duty at a building. Met him down here at an extra job, and he was a really cool chap. And he did some extra work in the Richardson-Dallas border, where 635, right by 635 and 75 by the high five there. Kind of, I think, from my understanding of it, you would say it's right by there, really. I think there's a Costco there, and it's right in that area. So he says it's unbelievable. They have there's a company that bought this abandoned office complex office tower. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a skyscraper, but it's probably, 10, 20 stories, something, you know what I mean? Something like that. Between, 5 to 15 stories probably. Office, tower, whatever, building. And the metal thieves and metal thieves were stripping it. They were constantly breaking into the vacant building and stripping it of all that metal. And so they hired off-duty cops to guard it. And he says it's insane. Because of his knowledge and his longtime experience, he said, I wear my police camo fatigues. You know how you have the police have a camouflage type, militaristic type outfit when they're doing raids or whatever, you know? Local here, too. So, I mean, this guy's a local cop. And he wore the military style uniform, and he had his handgun. You know how they can have when they go on stuff, lightning raids like that or whatever with the SWAT team, or whatever. They've got the handgun strapped to the side of their leg. Okay, so he has his handgun on the side of his leg, and then he has an AR or something to that effect. I'm sure it's an AR, and it's on a strap pointed down. So he literally is guarding that building with an AR and in his local police outfit. It's paramilitary style for raids to intimidate. Because he has had bad stuff happen there. He's like, dude, he was telling me the difference. He goes, dude, you go to the other side of the street with Richardson, nothing. It's right here in Dallas. And the same thing applies with the bums and the homeless encampments that I have seen, whether it's where it borders Richardson, whether it borders in Farmers Branch, whether it's in Addison. And I was in Farmers Branch. My wife had a client there for some time, so I could see some of that there. But I really, really, really saw it when I was on a double date with a wonderful, beautiful couple that we love dearly. And last weekend it was. So it was literally a week ago, roughly Saturday, actually. And just an amazing couple. And we went to this place in Addison, tucked away place that's really cool. And then we went southbound to leave. We were southbound on the frontage road of where Addison, Dallas touch, and did that U-turn that, we all have these U-turns we'd go through every day where, when you go underpass, at that point it was North Dallas Tollway, but it could be 75, it could be, anywhere. And so we go through that, and there's a massive, massive homeless thing. And it's like, what the? And it's literally, I can't remember exactly how it was positioned, but it was like startling because we almost hit it. He's like, yeah, that thing's been there for a long time. That's Dallas. And when you see stuff by the High Five, you see all these just disgusting tent cities. And I see it, too, when I leave downtown for church on Sundays. I see it downtown on Field by the Perot Museum at the underpass there. I mean, this is some bad stuff. And I'm going to tell you something else. I have definitely been praying for those people from time to time when I go by there, because on these cold nights, like tonight, I mean, this is horrible. I don't want anybody to have to suffer. But a lot of these people don't want to take their medications, the prescriptions that would make them stable. They'd rather be on the streets and get high or live without their medications. They would rather live on the streets because they love their drugs, and they've gotten so low with their family members kicking them out, you know what I mean, burning through their money or their job because of their addiction. They'd rather be a drunkard or a drug addict on the streets and be free. I'll tell you something else, too. I saw a movie or a series, whatever, that my wife liked. It's on Netflix right now. It was really good, actually. I don't think I finished it even. It's Australian, but these kids are in this house, and it's a dump. And it's just horrific. And it reminded me of what I'm going to tell you here with the homeless and stuff. I think what happens, too, is a lot of people like you and me that live in our nice middle class or upper middle class or beyond homes and neighborhoods, that we can't imagine somebody would actually prefer to live in their car or on the street. But when you see how people live in their homes and they're fine with it, when you see what I'm trying to get at here, and I've told you this on the air before, there are people, the level of tolerance or threshold for living in squalor or crap, literally feces sometimes, right, is for some people all they need is this level, or they're willing to go to that level if they can live their life the way they want to. And people have this tendency to want to come in and save them. Oh, you poor thing. Oh, you need me. Especially the leftist do-gooders, right? No, what they need to do is get cuffed and stuffed. And I'm for helping them compassionately and offering services, but if they ain't going to do it, get out. You're out of here. And that's what's happening in Dallas. They're shooing them, and they keep popping up. There was one of the city council members talked about a homeless guy jumping up on the hood of her car and taking a dump on it. Either her car or one of her constituents' cars. I mean, this is out of control, man. And I'll tell you something else. All up and down 75 in Lake Highlands area and stuff like that, this is a freaking cesspool. And you know why they put that bridge, that pedestrian bicycle bridge that goes over 75, that one just opened up? That's for the homeless bums. That's for the panhandlers, as far as I'm concerned. That's for them to traverse the 75 to beg and bother in other parts of that area that are up and down 75. This crap is a disaster, and Dallas lets it happen. And what they need to do is crack down. Now look at this. Farmers Branch Mayor Terry Lynn shares a 6.5-mile border the Dallas Morning News says frequently tries without much luck to clear the encampments with the help of Dallas. We've had several homelessness, he says, individuals get killed on the I-35 service road. I'm hoping that through your efforts we can find common ground to where we can both work out to move these things along, move these folks along. See, he's got people dying. They don't care. Just don't do anything about it. Dallas is a freaking cesspool with panhandlers and homeless. They don't care. I see this crap at Lake Highlands too. When you take 635 over to like Greenville and stuff like that, oh, it's a freaking scary dump. Man, don't unlock those windows. There's people that are all sorts of stuff. It's unsavory. It really is. And underneath that overpass over there, it's just vile too. Okay. Addison Mayor Bruce Arfston, I think he literally talks about what I saw last week it struck me today when I read this article. He asked for help from the city of Dallas and the North Texas Tollway Authority to clear camps near roadways. There's an encampment structure that's been placed on the sidewalk at Arapahoe intersection. See, I'm telling you, I was right there. It's been there for months. It's a safety hazard, and the lack of joint response from the tollway and from the city of Dallas has been frustrating for us. It's a freaking cesspool, dangerous thing is what it is. So my questions for you are, what do you think the solutions are to Dallas homeless problem? More housing, as they say here in the feel-good do-gooders part. More money, as they say. More mental health care, which I'm for, but not if they won't do it. If they won't do it, lock them up. Put them in a mental ward. Or strict enforcement. So strict enforcement, more mental health, more money, more housing. What is your answer to this? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And the mayor of Carrollton says the same kind of a thing. I'll tell you what he said coming up next. It's the same thing. And, you know, you and I, by the way, we're seeing this crap in Plano. And other areas too. We got Duncan. We'll take Duncan's call from Fort Worth coming up next. Oh, I'm going to tell you about my experience with homelessness in Fort Worth, what I saw. Oh, dude. I had a wonderful night in the town and a night in the town there. Spent the night there at the Omni and stuff. I'll tell you all about that coming up next. Plus, we'll take Duncan's call. He can give us more of a Fort Worth perspective as well. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 and now on FM at 93.3. Chris Crock program. Dallas businesses, property owners share concerns about camps of unhoused people. That's a politically correct way of saying homeless people, but that's their story today. Mayor Farmers Branch Terry Lynn saying it's terrible conditions. People are dying. Addison Mayor Bruce Arfston saying, talking about the encampment that's been there for months at Arapahoe and the tollway. I was right there. Saw that with my own eyes last week. It was unbelievable. Safety hazard. No response from tollway in City of Dallas. Mayor Carrollton, Steve Babick. We know that we've had success from Dallas. It's basically Dallas is a crap hole. On the other side of the street is Carrollton, Addison, Richardson, and others, and they don't play. But these guys have to deal with this crap in these neighboring communities. We know we had success, the mayor of Carrollton says, from Dallas as well as Carrollton in terms of cleaning up and going and cleaning up. But the reality is those homeless are simply displaced. They're moving. They're kind of in a circle up to Plano Farmers Branch into Carrollton, then back to Rosemead Park. So permanent solution has to be made. Yeah, put them in if they won't take their medications and have mental health issues, put them in a mental ward against their will until they get right, and then put them out on medical probation or something. And if they're doing drugs and they don't want to get sober, lock them up. I mean, that's just it, man. You got to do tough love. That's my solution. What's yours? And by the way, buying more housing for people is not the answer, because I don't. In this country, do you really think that people can't afford to live somehow, some way? I mean, dude, live with 3 roommates. You know what I mean? Or 4 roommates if you have to in a 2-bedroom or something. You can make it work. There's a way to figure this out, isn't there? Isn't there? You don't know, Producer Garrett too? Oh, he's heard some nightmare roommates. Yeah, but if it's homelessness or roommate, I'm going to go with the nightmare roommate story. We got Duncan, or P. Duncan. I guess you're a rapper in Fort Worth. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP. Do you want to hear my homeless experience? It's a short one, or you want to go first? You go first if you want.
Am I on the air?
I don't know. Let me check. Is he on the air? We don't know. But I can hear you. I'm just joking around, dude. Of course you are. Of course you are.
Well,
that's a joke.
I just want people to hear it.
Well, listen, if I'm talking to you, they're going to hear it. If not, then the whole radio station's off the air. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
A lot of people, are in that situation where they don't want help. They're hooked on the drugs. But I had everything going for me. I worked at a major airline here for 34 years.
Wow. Okay.
I was still working there. I had my own business on the side, making about $200 a year. Life was great. Big boat. I had my family, everything. And one day I had an off-road accident, and the whole life changed. I was in the hospital 2 months. Mm-hmm. And I had a family. I've been homeless when I got out. Had to retire from the airline. Thank God I have a pension. But the disability and the pension isn't enough. And then, of course, the wife decided to leave a couple of years after that. Had an affair, but that's another story. But anyway, I'm on my own. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even qualify for an apartment with my disability and my pension, because you had to make 3 times the rent. Lucky a friend co-signed, or I've been homeless. I mean, and here I was, life was great. And I met people in the hospital that were. One guy got robbed, and instead of just taking his wallet, they broke his neck. He was paralyzed.
You mean at these homeless places, you mean?
No, this is people I met. I was in the hospital 2 months for rehab.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
My back.
Oh, in rehab for your back. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, for 2 months. And there's a lot of people, you get out, if you don't have nowhere to go, you can't qualify to rent anything if you don't make enough money. I mean, like I said, I got divorced, and my wife left because she couldn't handle my injury. And
but were you willing? Were you? Say it again. Say that last part.
He had to co-sign for an apartment, so I could rent an apartment by myself because I couldn't even do it.
But here's the thing. I mean, were you willing to work? Were you willing to work with anybody that would help you?
Yeah, well, the problem with me is I got 2 12-inch rods, 8 screws in my back, and I take a narcotic, which I'm not addicted to for the pain, because I have nerve damage. I will be in pain the rest of my life. Yeah. I take it 3 times a day. I don't abuse it.
Do you work?
Lucky I'm.
Do you work?
No, I can't, because no one will hire me being on narcotics. I had a friend who would give me on a job, but because I'm on narcotics, they didn't want to hire me. So I have my pension and my disability. I have a service dog. And
where do you live?
In Fort Worth.
Okay, so you have your own place. You're doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. But I mean, a lot of people die. If I hadn't had a pension,
here's what I was going to say, though.
Been homeless.
Here's what I was going to say. I mean, would you have worked if you could, and would you work with?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I worked 34 years for a major airline.
That's what I'm saying. What do you do? So what do you do when people won't work? If they reach out to help you or get you into housing and they won't work, I mean, at that point, what do you do? I mean, that's not a homelessness problem. That's somebody choosing, right? There's a lot. There are bums out there.
Need help. Those people need help. I talk to waiters where people come in on the second interview wearing pajamas, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, they want to bomb the interview so they keep getting unemployment. Yeah. They come in wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah.
And my point is
that situation.
My point is a lot of people on the streets don't want help. Not all of them, but a lot of them don't. They want to stay high, drunk, on drugs, or not take their psych medications because they don't like it.
Right.
And that's my point.
I met a guy that was a top RV salesman making $150 a year, and he broke his back, and he lost everything, his house, his vehicles, everything. When he got out, he had no family to go to, and, what do you do? I mean,
that
there's
can
a lot of people
happen.
like that.
Obviously, that can happen to
All
anybody.
the homeless people, a bunch of lazy bums, but not everyone. I'm not saying you're
I
saying
agree
that.
with you.
Not all of them.
I agree with you. And I do. That's why I said compassion. But I said, if you won't receive the help, if you won't get help, if you won't work for it and, work with these shelters, then you got to cuff them and stuff them or lock them up for at a psych ward. I got to go, buddy, but I want to thank you for your call. I'm grateful you're okay.
Yeah, okay. You too. Bye-bye.
Take care, brother.